This show is proudly brought to you by the #Me Network.
This week's episode of Bits of Awesome is brought to you by needitwantitgadget.co.nz, and you can head along there and get some retro awesomeness like the Sega Genesis arcade fighting stick. It's a cool little stick, really reasonably priced, and our old retro stuff doesn't plug into everything, and this thing here will just plug straight into any old LCD you've got hanging around the house. You can bang on some Virtua Fighter 2. It's built in as well, and it's even got an SD slot there to load your own ROMs if there's other games that you may have sourced somehow. Head along to needitwantitgadget.co.nz and check them out, and check out their other goodies as well. They've got lots of accessories and stuff. Anyway, on with the show.
Bits of Awesome, the Retro Gaming Podcast.
Welcome to this week's episode of Bits of Awesome. I'm Phid McAwesome.
And I'm Evil Card.
And on this week's show, we're going to have a bit of a chat about not a game this week, not a console, but controllers.
Where Phid tries to convince me the PS2 controller is still superior than the Xbox controller.
That's a good argument, and we'll be getting into that a bit later. Anyway, we start off the show every week with some old news. This week's old news. You got anything for us?
The only news I really have, and it's not really old news, but I've hit 50% of my Master System game collection.
Have you?
Yes, so that's good old news.
That is good old news. 50%, so you've only got half the entire catalogue to go.
Yeah, only half. So my numbers are actually higher than the released PAL set, but I've got cart variants as well, and some Brazilian releases. So, hey, I'm halfway there, and I started in February. So far, so good.
Yeah, man, you're doing better than I am with the cart side of things. I've just got every console, but I'm slowly building the cart collection up.
Yeah, so I'm going for cart case. It has to be at least cart case to count in my collection.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not counted. Some really rare ones to go, but still a fair few really common ones to go. So, hey, let's see if I can hit that by the end of the year.
Yeah, man. And how's your Mega Drive collection going?
80 games, I think. 80 games.
Well,
yeah, still about 80. I've slowed down there. They're too expensive to buy, and they're few and far between at the garage sales and whatnot. So that's sort of backburned a wee bit.
Well, there's one Brazilian rare game that you may be able to get your hands on very soon, because it's going to be getting a re-release. And that one is Duke Nukem 3D, one of the Brazilian exclusives.
It's looking really good, eh? Tectoy re-release.
A Tectoy re-release. This one's quite interesting. It's being re-released by another company. I'm just having a look to see who it is. Pitco Interactive are going to be re-releasing it for the Mega Drive. I think it's going to be zone free as well.
Oh, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
So this sort of sits in that weird sort of realm where Tectoy have approved it, so it's almost an official release, but it's really a repro.
Yeah, licensed re-release.
Yeah, so
yeah,
a licensed repro, and I don't like repros.
No, neither.
I think, especially if the repro looks like the original, that's where I have issues with it. If it's a blatant repro with markings on it that say it's a repro, I don't have an issue with that. But if they're looking identical, and there's the potential to get that out there in the wild and ruin people's collections.
Yeah, speaking of that, not really news, but still along the repro line, another YouTube channel, I forget their name, was warning people this week about the Genesis the Genesis release of Mega Man Wily Wars.
Yeah.
Of telling people to avoid eBay, as they are all repros, and that, people have been buying them thinking they're legitimate releases, and they're not.
Oh, wow. Because that's one of the desirable rares, that too.
Yeah, on Mega Drive. So, hey, I've got that one. That's one on my Mega Drive list.
Have you double checked to make sure yours is legit?
definitely legit, 100%.
While we're on Doom news, there's actually two more bits of Doom news to add in there. One being that there has been an awesome mod designed and released for the original Doom on PC.
Nice.
And that's called Brutal Doom, and they've basically taken the vision of the original Doom and just made it awesome.
More brutal.
It's the graphics are almost the same. They've stepped up some of the blood and gore and stuff like that. Basically, I think it's what they would have done with the technology if they had more RAM back in the day.
Oh, really? So I haven't seen any of this. So Brutal Doom is just more a gory Doom than the original?
They've added sprites and stuff so that, like, if you shoot something, you can do headshots or body shots, and it makes a difference to where the beast gets hit. There's bigger flames, blood splatters and actually sticks to things.
I'm just playing a quick video of it now, and the body parts flying everywhere. It looks really good.
It does look amazing, eh?
Awesome stuff.
And it's built on the original engine. And the other bit of Doom news is the Doom reboot has finally seen the wild.
The Doom reboot?
Yep, they're rebooting Doom officially. Those who were at QuakeCon got to see it.
Wow.
And apparently it looks amazing. It's been...
I haven't seen any news. I'll have to look it up afterwards.
Yeah, well, there's no videos out there yet. This is the thing.
Ooh, mysterious.
People who were at QuakeCon got to see it, and funnily enough, it hasn't leaked out of there, which is strange for this day and age.
Wow, yeah. In the connected world we live in, that's very rare.
Yeah, so keep your eye out for that. And I think the other big bit of news is, you remember a couple of weeks ago we had a talk to Major Nelson about the ET Atari dig site?
The smelly landfill dig.
Well, they've finally released the movie's, what would you call it?
Trailer.
The trailer, yeah, the trailer for the movie that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. It looks like it's going to be really good. I think the story more interests me than the actual... like, I have no interest in the game. Not really interested in Atari, although, you know, they are an essential part of this history and all that. But, yeah, it looks good. Released on Xbox Video. When is it coming? Autumn.
Yeah, autumn it's going to be released, yeah. But there's information all available at xboxvideo.com if you want to check it out. And, yeah, the story behind this looks amazing because they've got the original designer involved, people who were involved in actually burying the stuff.
The game that should have taken 5 weeks to make, and 5 months to make, and they made it 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Get out on Christmas, and it is shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, check out that thing. And that's us for the news.
King of the Picks.
Yes, and I have made a majestical comeback. I've had a great week of picks, actually. Picked up a few random things, got a Wii, yay, that was cool. $100 and a big lot of games with it too. Quite stoked with that. Picked up a lot of random, just old Nintendo DS games. But my entry for King of the Picks would be my Dreamcast, finally. Yay. $120, one Dreamcast console, a little bit faulty, but hey, a steering wheel, 6 controllers, 2 VMUs, a Sega Dreamcast bag, and 19 games.
For $120.
$120.
Well, the only thing that I can even claim to have picked up in the last 2 weeks, I haven't even received yet, so it's a loose claim. I traded 4 Nintendo 64 cartridges just today for Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on PS1.
You bastard, you got them.
I got them.
Nice. I saw them come up, but I don't have any N64 stuff for trade.
Well, I didn't cool. either. That's the funny thing. I actually dug into my personal collection for this because Resident Evil meant more to me than Nintendo 64 has ever meant to me.
damn straight. No, they're good call there. I saw them come up, and you should have bundled those Street Fighter games, the versus Capcom series.
Well, funny thing is somebody else has offered him a massive amount of money for that one game. And he goes, oh, I said to him that I was interested, and he goes, oh, I've been offered this, and I was just like, okay, take that, bro.
Yeah.
I thought it was fair, but what I traded it for was Off-Road, Banjo Kazooie, Yoshi's Island, and Donkey Kong Racing. So they're pretty good titles I swapped for.
Yeah, Yoshi's Island's definitely a really good game. The good thing about my Dreamcast score would have been the fact that I got it on Trade Me. Now, any Kiwis out there know that Trade Me has turned into this mother storm of hell in trying to get any kind of good deal. It came up. I actually messaged you to look at it first because I've been waiting a very long time for a Dreamcast.
This is probably the one machine you've been patient with.
Yeah, and I really wanted a boxed one, but sometimes you just have to take what you get. Now, let's be honest, the pictures looked like it had a stack of copied games or something with it.
It did. I remember when you sent me the link for it, I had a look, and I think I replied within seconds and said, bro, buy now. But I was thinking, okay, it looks like it's got 3 or 4 legit games, even for that price with all the controllers and everything, it's still good. But you're saying the whole lot were legit that came with it?
Yeah, so, I genuinely thought, great, something's going to go wrong with this deal. The picture had, a CD there. Now, the CD didn't even come with the bundle. I got, I think it was 6 games complete, or no, 7 games complete, which is awesome. Case, manual, disc, all good. And then I got, must have been at least 10 games that were all in a CD dual case thing. Legit games. It would have been so awesome if they were complete as well. But I'm not going to complain. There was Resident Evil, Sonic Adventure, Marvel vs. Capcom, which is awesome.
It is amazing, that game.
Yeah. And I must say, this is my first Dreamcast controller and console. The controller, to me, does feel a bit odd.
Yeah.
Especially in Marvel vs. Capcom, I'm used to using either an Xbox controller or a, God forbid, a PlayStation controller. And, it feels like the D-pad's down too low or something, and the joysticks are, I don't know, it sits strange in the hand, but really love playing Sega Rally over the weekend with the steering wheel. Sort of like that full arcade feel about the console. I love the console. My only gripe is it has that controller issue where you've got to jiggle the controllers or something. I need to get it fixed because I don't think I'll be buying another one for a very long time.
To be honest, the issue you've got with your one is one of the better issues to have, though.
Oh, it works, so yeah.
Yeah. See, my Dreamcast is made up of 2 faulty ones that both had massive issues. And I managed to make one Dreamcast out of 2 faulty ones.
Yeah, I've always been jealous that you've had the Dreamcast before. I didn't know I've waited so long, so for $120, I'm glad I hit the buy now. The trader that I dealt with was good value. I'm really happy with that. So I would like to say that I think this week I can wear that crown.
I will happily hand on the crown of King of the Picks this week because I've done pathetic and you've had an amazing week.
Finally, the king is back.
It's your first turn.
It is my first turn, and I am dancing, I'm grooving, oh yeah, I'm the winner.
Anyway, we started talking about those controllers. Why don't we just jump straight into the main section and start talking about them?
Press start.
Yes, controllers. Now, over all of the consoles, your pick for the best or worst, or do you want to go through this sort of console generation?
I don't know. I think we should do this generationally and talk about why they were shit or why they were good.
Yep, so do we go first with the Master System versus the NES?
I reckon where we should go first is Atari.
Oh, I knew you were going to this dirty place.
Now,
you always take it to the next level, don't you?
Yeah, bro. But with the Atari, there's no way really to compare it to anyone else.
No, and it did the job for what it needed to do. So
if we're going to talk about first generation stuff, what do you compare it to? Do you compare it to the grandstand stuff like the original Sega? Or do we compare it to the Hanamex stuff?
Oh, the Hennix controller is weird. That's one that's got like a like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the keypad thing and
Yeah.
the joystick.
What else is the Hanomix known as? The
No,
hey,
old.
yeah. Or you've also got the Tunics as well.
Yeah, and then I guess you throw the fountain in for good measure.
Well, that's the word I was looking for. Was the fountain and Hanomix? They were the same, pretty much one and the same.
Have you ever come across a fountain console with 2 working controllers?
Yes, my one.
Oh, see, my one's got like one snapped. One's good, one's snapped, and then any other ones that I've seen out in the wild is one good, one snapped.
Yeah, everybody seems to have the faulty sticks on theirs.
Yeah, and the kids played them too damn hard.
Yeah. So out of the first generation, I'd say Atari were the ones who got it right because they actually had a good hardware and control stick.
Yeah, and again, it did the job well for what it was needed to do.
The only game that they were horrible to use those control sticks on were Pong or Breakout.
See, I wouldn't know.
See, and what you need for that is the Atari dial controller. See, Atari thought of everything back then. The sticks were horrible to use, so they came out with the dial.
They did think of everything, and that's why they died, because they were putting out so many shit games on top of shit games. They killed the video game generation then.
So why don't we jump into the 8-bit generation then?
Yeah, so my pick here is the Master System. Now people will go, oh, there's not much difference between the NES one and the Master System. Yes, there is.
I say there's a huge difference.
Master System had the D-pad that didn't, that was all in one.
Yeah.
So you could do the diagonals. You couldn't do that on the NES one.
Yeah,
So,
and if you were
System.
playing any games where you had to roll your fingers over it, didn't cut your bloody fingers up on the sharp edges.
Yeah, I know. If you tried doing that on an NES controller recently, man, that shit hurts.
Yeah, completely. It's ouch.
Yeah.
So I completely and utterly agree with you on this one. I used to love playing on it. It was my first real console, if you want to call it that, was the Master System. So I've got a love affair with the Master System anyway.
Yeah, and anyone that's listened to us before knows that's both where both the team we kind of bat for. So that answer was probably to be expected.
Yeah.
What about with that generation? While we're just there, the joystick, the lefty. Isn't that thing weird?
The lefty joystick is the weirdest thing that Sega ever... Oh, okay, maybe not the weirdest thing Sega ever released. But it is a horrible joystick.
Yeah, again, I think it has to be made for left-handed people. I just don't understand. Surely, after playing with the control pad for so long...
I mean, surely everybody knows what we're talking about here. It's the Master System control stick that came out.
Control stick.
I'm just having a look at mine now. Making sure it was called the control stick. Yeah, it is the control stick. And it had the stick, almost a big T-shaped stick, isn't it? And it's on...
Sure is.
Yeah, and that's for your right hand, and the buttons are on the left-hand side of it, so it's completely round the wrong way compared to their control pad.
Yeah, definitely a left-hander's... Well, yeah... I don't know. It just seems so weird.
I remember you sending me a photo of something else that you'd picked up, and I noticed in the background that you had 2 boxed lefties.
Yep, I do.
Yeah, I remember saying to you, "Oh, you got 2 boxed lefty sticks," and you're like, "Lefty sticks? What are you talking about?"
Pulled one out, and I was like, "You're fucking right. No wonder I never touched this."
Yeah, they're a fucking horrible thing to use.
But in its defence, if you got the control stick near you now, just grab the joystick, put your hand on top of that joystick.
Oh, mine's in the box. I'd have to rip it out of the box. I don't want to do that.
And you'll just do it for shits and giggles. Feel how good that... And this sounds disgusting. And the only time I say it feels like a pretty good knob in your hand. Your hand sits perfectly claw shape on it.
Yeah, it does. I'd agree with that. If only they'd put it on the other side of the control stick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we jump into the 16-bit generation.
Yeah, so this one's harder because, one, I've never been a Nintendo person. I've never really played a Super Nintendo. In fact, I think I've played one once before. So I'm always going to go Mega Drive because I'm Sega. on that anyway. But then Mega Drive's weird because it was originally a 3-button and then they released the 6-button. So, like, do we go with the 3-button versus the...
I say we do the whole lot because, I mean...
Well, in that case, Mega Drive wins quantity over...
Yeah, and I agree with you on this. Like, I found... I mean, like, once again, it comes down to being a Sega guy. When I did play the Super Nintendo at my friend's place, or if we ever hired it out to play it, I mean, I've always said that their version of Street Fighter 2 was way superior to the Genesis or Mega Drive version.
Blasphemy, but carry on.
But their control pad was horrible to use.
Yeah, because it's got the shoulder buttons, eh? So that'd be like high kick, low punch or something? Or high punch.
And that's what I found really weird. And that's why I loved the Mega Drive 6-button controller for Street Fighter. And we actually got a message this week from Josh Gregor when we put it out there, and he said the same thing. The Mega Drive 6-button was made perfect for fighting games. It felt just right. And that's exactly what we've just said.
Yeah, damn straight.
Also, before we move forward, I just want to make a shout out to Josh Gregor as well. He's one of the boss level homies, and he's actually just got out of hospital, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's sent me a DM with a photo of him in his hospital bed when I asked him a question the other day. So, it doesn't look like he's in too good a shape. So, get well soon, bro.
Yeah, and just know, Josh, that your Master System and Mega Drive are nice at home in their new collection.
But going back onto topic, the Mega Drive 3-button, I did hate going back to using a 3-button after using the 6-button.
Yeah, I do kind of like how it sits in your hand, though. The 6-button one feels smaller unless you got one of the professional fighting pad ones.
Yeah.
But the sort of curved points on where your palm sits on the 3-button does feel quite comfortable.
Yeah.
But terrible for fighting because don't you have to hit start or something to change it to kick or
mode?
Yeah, mode.
Yeah, mode button. It was a horrible thing.
So, but that's a good thing about having brothers or sisters or that friend that you wanted to beat in the game. They'd come over, you'd have the 6-button, you'd give them the 3-button, and you wouldn't tell them how to use it, and you'd proceed to kick their ass. Now,
then I suppose we could also, since we're covering everything, the greatest 16-bit controller invention of all time, the Battle Station 2.
The Battle Station 2?
Yeah. And I happen to own one of these. It's basically grab a control panel off an arcade machine, whack a couple of cables in the back and plug it into your Mega Drive or your Super Nintendo. And that's what you've got.
Oh, yes, you bastard. You've got one, don't you?
Yeah. And that is an amazing machine. And it works, like I said, on the Super Nintendo and on the Mega Drive. And it even works on an Amiga 500.
Oh, nice.
So, if we're going to call out what's best for Street Fighter on that generation, that is my winner.
Yeah, but I don't know if that really counts.
It's still. You have a look online, do a Google search for it. It still has its own threads all over the retro forums.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still going with the 6-button.
Okay, purely out of popularity, because most people owned it, 6-button.
Yep, definitely.
With the comments and stuff we got during the week from our posts that we were doing this show, it seems to be fairly general that it was one of the better ones. Luke Jones also popped up and said that it was one of his favourites was the Mega Drive controller too.
Yeah, and I think it was around that time where, fighting games were king. So I think, it's hard to go past it, really.
And then after the 16-bit generation, this is where we start getting a bit more complicated.
Yeah, now, because it splits off from Sega versus Nintendo here. We've got Sony. I don't know. I still like the Saturn controller. It's because it's probably pretty much the same.
They kept with the kidney bean shape from the roughly from the Mega Drive, and they made it better.
Yeah, I think so. And then you got, the terrible Saturn controller, which is like the round one. What do they call it?
But you've got to give that love where it's due, and that was what the first analog stick ever released.
Yes.
And if I remember right, I think it was designed for Dreams.
Yeah, I'm doing a quick Googling machine right now.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that was specifically designed for Dreams. That big, horrible disc-shaped thing. Looking myself as well. But we had that. That obviously fell over.
Yes.
Horrible machine all round. As much as I still like to jam on the Saturn every now and then, it was definitely a mistake on their part.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I still remember playing Sega Rally on it.
Yeah.
For me, it's a nostalgia thing, I guess. It's not that bad. It's not like Atari Jaguar bad or... Yeah, there's worse consoles.
Okay, then... Now, arguably the best design of all consoles also came out in the next generation as well. And that would be the PlayStation controller.
No. See, okay, actually, the original PlayStation controller without analog sticks, maybe. Quite comfortable in the hand.
Yeah. Then they
Good
brought
access with the thumbs, the control pad and the buttons.
Yep.
And also the shoulder buttons as well.
Yeah.
I still think, though, when you add those analog sticks in and you compare it to any other controller, your thumbs are still sitting up too high. It just, nah.
I think with the analog it was good. With the DualShock 1 it was awesome. Because they made the sticks a bit longer to fit in your palm better.
Yeah.
I don't know why you don't love the PlayStation controller.
Well, maybe I just don't have this thing for PlayStation so much. Yeah.
To me, there's a reason why. It's the only console that is up to its 4th generation and still uses the same design it came out with from day one of their controller.
It's okay. PlayStation aren't paying us anything for this vid. It's okay to tell the truth. I know. I probably am in the minority here. I still think the Xbox controller is better. It is comfier. I don't know. Maybe I am in the minority, and sometimes that's okay.
I think if I'm going to give love to the Xbox controller at all, I think they definitely improved on the original design of that controller, which was the Dreamcast controller.
Yeah, now after playing... see, the Dreamcast controller, I think for fighting games you need the arcade stick. After playing Marvel vs. Capcom, holy hell, my thumb was in agony from that D-pad on that thing.
Yeah.
It's down too low from where you grip the controller, and the buttons are probably up too high on the other side. They're not the best controllers, the Dreamcast ones.
They're not.
Think you need the designated either the arcade stick for fighting, or if you're into racing, then steering wheel, which seemed to work really well.
The only game I've played with a Dreamcast controller has made a lot of sense has been Code Veronica.
See, that came in the bundle as well. I have to try it out because I've never actually played it.
Oh, it's a great game.
I'll have to turn the lights down low and give it a go.
Yeah, man. I'm actually going to hold back on playing, because I started playing through that again not long ago on the Dreamcast. I'm going to hold back, and I think I might go back to Resident Evil 1 and play right through the whole series again.
Great series. It really is a good series.
We have to do an episode on Resident Evil.
Pretty sure we can.
Yeah.
But we digress. So you are saying that the Xbox controller is far superior than the PlayStation controller. And then what's the next generation?
The PlayStation one was superior, and they continued that superiority onto the next generation as well, which would be the PS2.
Yeah. Nah, not for me. Like, again, I think I never had this love affair with the PS2. I was Xbox, so Maybe it's just because I don't have that attachment to PlayStation or Sony. Like, it's not that same for me.
Yeah.
I'd love to be convinced otherwise. I do have a few PS2s. I do have a PlayStation 1. I do play the games on them. I've even got a PS3, which my son sucks on the controller of. That's how much love I have for that controller. I just don't care.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just because it doesn't have that same place for me.
It possibly is. I mean, I was massively in love with my PS2. And I played the hell out of it. I killed my first PS2 just because I played it so much.
Yeah, what about the game? Well, there's a couple of consoles were missed, and Nintendo nerds will be spewing at us again. Nintendo 64 controller.
Okay.
Walk us through it.
No, okay, it was this weirdness of, am I a D-pad, am I an analog, why do I have to fit into the conformity of having a thumbstick right where the thumb should go when I can have my own stick to put the... It was weird.
Yeah, it is weird. To this day, it still weirds me out. When I go to pick up a Nintendo 64 controller, I don't know where I should be holding it. I look at it, and it's like, I really don't like where this joystick is in the middle. It'd be cooler over there. It's just really, really weird.
Yeah, and it's got the shoulder buttons as well, but I can't remember ever really using the shoulder buttons that often.
Well, how can you, I guess Mario Kart or something, no, I can't remember, it's been a while since I played it on Nintendo 64, but now, if you're using the joystick right and the trigger as your accelerator, how are you meant to hit those shoulder buttons without sort of like taking your hand off and like ramming it under your chin and looking like a dribbly as you try to jam it into the shoulder? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean... it was a weird controller because it looked ugly. It didn't seem to make sense, but I think when you're in the game for whatever game, it does make sense. It's one of those things that doesn't make sense until you're using it.
Yeah, it's like the D-pad on the whole controller gets neglected in some games.
Yeah. And
you're using the joystick to navigate, you got the buttons on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, very odd.
It is. It was, one of the strangest decisions Nintendo have made.
Yeah, now do you think Nintendo fixed it with GameCube, or did they make it even more confusing?
Okay, I'm going to say that I actually like the GameCube controller, and they must be doing something right considering they're going to be re-releasing the GameCube controller for the new Wii U.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I was reading up on this week, and a few people disagree with us. They think the GameCube controller is weird and that it's only made for Smash Brothers. I kind of think that maybe these kids grew up around that Wii time where Smash Brothers Brawl was released for Wii and they used GameCube controllers on it. Because I find GameCube controllers really, really comfy.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like on the GameCube controller is I find that the buttons are quite sharp-edged.
Yeah. It has a nice yellow nipple, though. I like that.
But yeah, Nintendo finally gets some love.
Yeah, even from me.
But where I won't give it love, and I refuse to actually call it a real controller, is pretty much the next two consoles they released.
Yeah. I now see, we could be upsetting some people here.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, so the whole Wii thing, right? It is, like, I've said all along, Wii is just not for me.
Yeah.
Now, I picked up a Wii recently for one reason. It needed to have the GameCube ports on it and be able to play GameCube games.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted a Wii. I didn't want it for the Wii Fitness or Wii Sports or this Wii Remote that is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Now, with Wii U, they've just made this console, which is even more confusing than the Wii because it's bigger brother, yet it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Except you get this really cool control pad thing. Now, I haven't researched this thing at all. I don't have any interest in it. But that control pad thing that they've got does look pretty cool. That you can play the virtual console on it is pretty cool.
But you can only do it in your house. I don't see what the point is of making a controller that's a tablet that you have to still sit in front of your TV to play.
Well, geez, every Nintendo person knows you have a DS when you go outside the house because those things have motherfucking pedometers built into them. So, for steps, and reward you for taking steps outside. Believe that or not.
Does it? I didn't actually know that.
I was like, one, two,
Okay,
what's this
I've got
game?
one person who's going to back me up on the Wii U side of things. Paul Silverthorne messaged us this week and said the worst for him would have to be the Wii U. It's a great bit of kit, but he just can't get his head around it. And also, he doesn't have hands as big as a Yeti to play it.
Oh, that's so true.
He also agrees that the PlayStation controller's the best because he's been using it for so long and it's just become a part of him.
Oh, poor deluded people.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's just because I don't have that connection to it.
Yeah. Another one who's going to back me up, Grady Hooker messaged us and said DualShocks. That was his entire comment, DualShocks.
Yeah, I'm going to be banished from any retro gaming forum. I'll be cast out amongst the resellers on Trade Me, and they'll spit venom at me, but no, just PlayStation's not my thing.
Yeah.
Hey, but John Lima Rugby, that's a different story.
Okay, we're almost stepping out of the retro realm now, but I think we should go there anyway. 360.
Easy. Yeah, 360, damn straight.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, I've argued anything but PlayStation all night. I'm not swinging to PS3 now. Like I said before, my son sucks on my PS3 controller. He thinks it's a toy, and I let him play with it.
Well,
I just have no love for it.
I've only owned a PS3 I owned one for 3 weeks and then I got rid of it. So I didn't have the love affair with it. I jumped to the 360 from the PS2. And funnily enough, I jumped to it for the controller that's not a controller. And it was the Kinect.
Yeah.
So, but it's still the 360 control pad, even though I got used to it, has never felt natural to me.
It's because you're one of those neglected children that grew up with a PlayStation. You believe it's the only thing that's right, and PS whatever for the players, but nah, not for this one. No, 360 hands down. That's it. Send it to the bank. I don't care.
Right.
PlayStation, no.
Have you had a chance to play on the new gen consoles?
No, neither of them. No interest in them.
Neither of them?
Nah. Like, maybe the one, and I had this discussion with a friend of mine that was down from Christchurch on the weekend. He was like, you've got all these cool old retro stuff. Your 360 is a bookend for your Mega Drive games at the moment. Are you going to look at the one? And I said, mate, the fact that they're releasing games for the 360 and the one, or the PS4 and the PS3 still, it's why waste your money?
Yeah,
unless you're given one. Not pointing at anyone, but
yeah.
To me, it's just a waste of money.
To be honest, if I wasn't given a PS4, I probably wouldn't have jumped into the next gen pool yet. But I've played both machines. V8 Matty from #Radio, he's got a Xbox One. I've got the PS4 here. I've played on both. I've spent a decent amount of time on both. And I think both companies have actually got it right.
Yeah, see, I can't have an opinion, I don't know, but I'm going to side with the Xbox One.
Yeah, the Xbox One controller is a really nice controller. It's a lot smaller.
And regardless of controller, Killer Instinct, it wins. Like, controller argument or not, Killer Instinct, it wins.
Yeah, Killer Instinct, I'm with you on that, actually. It's one of the best reboots in the last 12 months, I'd say. 12 months?
Yeah.
It's still 12 months? Yeah, it's still within 12 months, not a year old yet.
Not quite.
Yeah. So, I think that's just about us. I want to know if anybody else agrees with us or disagrees with us as well.
Yeah, definitely, fire away.
Yeah.
Like I say, I think I'm in the minority here. Proof it otherwise.
Yeah. Flick us tweets. I'm on Twitter at Phid McAwesome. You're on there at Evil Card.
That's the one.
Jump on our Instagrams as well. I'm Phid McAwesome. You're
Gaming_Cud.
Yep. Let us know what you think. If you think we're wrong, if you think I'm wrong, you are free to say nothing. But if you want to back me up and say Gus is wrong, definitely jump on there and let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Always open for a lovely debate.
Now, before we end this show, we were supposed to talk about this at the start of the show, but now's a better time than any. We both watched a documentary in the last week.
The video games movie.
Yeah. Now, this has been funded by the dude from Scrubs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Zach Braff.
I saw him on there. I didn't know he was funding it. Interesting.
Yeah, and you could tell it was a Hollywood production straight away, I thought, with the fact that it actually has a really good soundtrack.
Also, the really flash infographic, how it opened up with percentage of men, percentage of women. I was like, man, this stuff is intense.
I actually learnt a lot through that.
Yeah, it was really good.
The big thing that shocked me was like, and this is going to make me sound like really sexist, but the percentage of women gamers now is 49% of all gamers are female.
You sexist pig. Of course women play video games. Like, oh my, they can't be in the kitchen all the time, Phid.
But
what do they do when you're at work?
But yeah, I learned a lot out of that whole thing. One thing both me and you both picked up on, though, is they went through and they covered off a lot of Atari's history, and they went right back to Ralph Baer and all of them who started it, and right back to MIT when they made their first one. They covered Nintendo, but there's one company they just showed no love to.
Yeah, I wonder what powerhouse in video gaming or the video gaming history that they just completely forgot about.
Yeah, Sega. Or Sega.
Yeah, that's Sega.
I mean,
like,
it surprised me when I was watching it. Like, they literally in the graphic go straight past a few
the
Sega
Genesis,
consoles,
yeah.
and then they mention the Genesis, and then go straight past it.
Yeah, and the part that I found, like, this documentary is really good. Anyone that's into video games, either now, into retro, whatever, they need to see it. It is really good.
Yeah, not bashing the doco at all.
Yeah, like, they had lots of Nintendo heavy stuff, lots of Atari focused stuff. The Atari stuff's really interesting because it is part of that retro history. Now, the Nintendo stuff was clearly like a couple of plants in there for whatever reason. Maybe they helped fund it. I've got no idea. But like the timeline, you know how they shoot over the consoles and then they went back and forward again, discussing all generations. To not mention what they call Sega or Sega at all. And then, Genesis was released there, Sonic, blah. That was it.
Yeah.
Like 15-second blurb.
And it's like the exact opposite of console wars.
Yeah, and that had me thinking, is it to do with that coming out soon? The movie of that coming out soon? Is that coming out soon?
Well, the movie's still in pre-production, I think, but the documentary's in production.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's what I'm wondering as well, if this here's sort of been brought out to combat the fact that Console Wars, the documentary, not the movie, is going to be coming out and will be very Sega heavy.
Yeah, and like, the documentary is really, really good. Said it just before, say it again. Anyone should watch it. It is good. Things that really did piss me off is the Nintendo execs all through it. Like, the guy that goes, we knew we were changing the living room or whatever when we held a Wiimote that was nailed against a bit of wood. And I said, well, and it's like, no, you've missed Genesis. You've missed, okay, Master System wasn't so big in the States or whatever, but, I don't know. Yeah, there's some great stuff in there.
To me, if you're going to tell a great documentary about the history of video games, how can you not discuss the first real console war? And how can you not talk about the failure that was both the Saturn and the Dreamcast? I mean, they were huge parts of gaming history.
Yeah, and well, according to this documentary, Atari and Nintendo are really the only gaming consoles ever, so I can see how they miss Sega because it apparently never existed. Like, that was a bit weird, and they do have a Sega marketing expert or something speak for about 15 seconds, but it should have been a bit fairer if they were going to do it properly. They've done a great job, it is good, but, it's not very balanced, in my opinion.
But in saying that, it was still a great documentary. If anyone gets a chance, definitely watch it.
Yeah, like it covered the culture, the consoles. Like it was just really in depth. Whatever levels, apart from Sega, it was really good. Like the culture, how much that's changed. It's no longer a nerdy thing, and these people are, making millions of dollars at gaming. Like those World of Warcraft, League of Legends guys that, fill out those basketball stadiums in the States and...
Yeah. It was, there was actually one comment that they made during the documentary that I actually sort of made me sit back and go, oh, wow, that's absolutely true, was at the moment there are children in this world that are a direct result of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and you start thinking about that, the connectedness of the world. They show the marriages through World of Warcraft, and those people had kids and all that. That's insane. That really is insane.
It is. But, so yeah, that's awesome doco. Check it out.
Yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Could have been higher. Bring in the Sega, please.
Yeah, I think I've now got high hopes for this console wars when it comes out.
Yeah, same here. Hopefully, yeah. Like I say, it kind of was a bit unfair. Wasn't very balanced documentary, but still really, really, really good.
It's just about time for us to end the show, but first I just want to have a quick talk about some upcoming guests that we've got coming on the show.
Yes.
The one that I can definitely talk about now, there's one that I've just emailed, I'm hoping to get them on. But the one that they got in touch with us and they wanted to come on our show was Rose Coloured Gaming.
Yeah, these guys are very cool. They make the Game Boy and even the Super Nintendo consoles. They do them up, paint them real pretty, and do a top job of it. Yeah,
refurbed machines. So, we're going to have a chat to them in an upcoming episode. We'll let you know when that's going to be on, though. If there's any guests that you think we should have a chat to or reach out to, definitely let us know. And, that's us for another week, I suppose.
Yeah, all I've got to add is don't be a dick and don't be an overpriced reselling wanker on TradeMe.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit save.
#me.co.nz